Hi, everyone. Welcome to High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that thinks it plays games, but apparently we only buy them. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Luvva, and with me is my co-host.
Good evening, Luvva. It's Tomahawk here. It's good to be back. Another week, another non-regulation episode, I guess.
No, apparently the regulation games are never coming back, mate. At this
No,
rate.
that's it. We're TBC, forever cancelled. The end.
Yep. And the avid viewers, the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you, will not recognise these two gentlemen with us. We have another guest episode. And who we have here is Josh and Darren from the Discount Pod. Thank you very much for coming on, gentlemen, at last minute as well. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Pulled us out of a hole big time.
I mean, it sort of shows. It shows how gamers are, though. We've got no social lives. We just we're sat in front of the computer anyway. Why not just do something different?
All I need to do is turn on the ring light and I'm ready to go. Here I am. So the Discount Pod. Take the stage, gentlemen. What is the Discount Pod, just in case any of our listeners are unaware of it?
Oh, it's a bargain bin gaming podcast. Basically, we have two episodes. The main episode, we get together, me, Darren, and the other host, Keris. We buy each other a random budget game based on a topic from our random genre generator, which is ranged from everything from horses, superpowers, embarrassing games, anime, bull is what it was called. And then we get together and we argue over which was the best one, awarding points, eventually just try not to lose, because the loser, as we found out last time, Keris had to stream for until she completed Resident Evil 8 in a single stream. But she actually rage quit and came back and finished it off another day. But I think the stream was about 9-10 hours or something like that, Darren. I think it was around that.
It was getting up there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive numbers. What made her rage quit? What part? Actually,
it was, the propeller man that comes at
God,
you.
Yeah, no, I would rage quit that. Definitely.
She'd run out of ammo, and it was just a case of just running into the propeller over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. But she was dressed as Lady D as well the whole time, so it was nice to see Lady D lose control of the situation in a different way than normal.
That's incredible. It really does. That sounds incredible. Resident Evil 8, what a game, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's a great game. I'm actually looking to go get the platinum for it. It's one of my backlog games, but I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. But yeah, that's one of our episodes. And the other one, we discuss all the things that happened in the month. So news, what we've been playing, and the PS Plus lineup, because we're all PlayStation shills over here.
Yep.
A little bit of Switch, but sorry, Microsoft. Well, I say that Darren's now got Game Pass, so we're now
by a little bit of Switch. You mean we look wistfully at Switch games we've bought and go, maybe one day.
That's it. Yeah.
That's all.
There's only so much Mario. I was going to say the traditional.
We have done 8 minutes, and we've had a Capcom reference, so that is a record for High Scores, High Stakes, isn't it?
It probably is, yeah.
I don't know. I think there's been references earlier than this. I'm pretty sure about 2 minutes in. It's almost an intro with Luvva. I'm sure he's said something there. I also want to say
sponsored.
Congratulations, Tom, for not being the last person to be introduced on the podcast this week. It's a change.
Right now.
What I love and crave. Thank you so much, Darren.
Here
comes our... build a hierarchy. I know where I sit.
We're going to get our first 1-star review after this. Tom wasn't last.
I hadn't even thought. I've moved backwards in this one. I'm normally in the middle of introductions. I've got worse.
So I'm presuming for everyone listening, Discount Pod, Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, the whole shebang.
Everywhere you get podcasts, and if you want a longer one, we do a longer version on YouTube, which is where all our Twitch streams go as well. So we're also on Twitch. Everything's Discount Pod with 2 C's, because we think we're really clever and funny with our name, but we're not, and I should not be allowed to name things. It's pretty much where we've landed. That's why we're never having a kid.
No, it's very much if you enjoyed the episode, but you feel like it could use more incoherent yelling, YouTube.
That's it.
Love it. Everyone
who doesn't love people yelling over the top of each other
for no reason.
I mean, for the public, yeah.
Sometimes we leave it in the episode.
It made PewDiePie a billionaire, so
exactly.
You know, and loads of other ones. He was like, I can scream too. I can scream. Listen.
We're on our way.
It's like my last episode of my old YouTube channel where I played PT. There was screaming done on that.
Fantastic.
I'm not shocked.
All
I'm not
that's-
shocked.
All that survived was the little 6-second soundbite of the jump scare that Luvva received, and that was my text alert for the best part of 10 years. No regrets.
I do not blame you. We have an old host of ours, Paul, streamed him playing Call of Duty when it did Warzone, and it was all the spooky boxes. And we had a 6-second clip of him just screaming as he opened a box that had a ghost in it, and it was every day in the chat just sending it to him. So things don't change.
Well, once again, thanks very much for agreeing to come on, gents. So I do appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. Let's bring us on to what is High Scores, High Stakes. Usually High Scores, High Stakes is for PlayStation gamers competing with one another in PlayStation game challenges for the right to take away the now traditional High Scores, High Stakes Cup, which is a literal cup. But this is our side quest. Still on side quest. A couple more and then we'll get back into season play. Fingers crossed, Tom?
Hope so anyway. That's the
Yeah,
plan. There's a lot more R&D to do, but
yes,
we'll get there.
Yes, a lot more than I'm comfortable with. But tonight's episode, what we're going to be discussing then is we're going to be discussing games that are in our backlog that probably shouldn't be in our backlog, I think is the best way of putting it. I know my ones. My one is like, why is it still there? I have no idea because it has no right to be there. It should have been played a very, very, very long time ago. And in fact, the one I'm going to be talking about, yeah, I thought I was going to play it about 2 years ago, but here we are. Here we are. Before we get into that, though, Tom, Game of the Month. Game of the Month Club. We have started this month.
That's right, yes.
So we have every
Deadline
month
is
what we're
nearing as well.
Yeah, the deadline is coming. Basically, what we are doing is we are picking a game every single month, playing through it, and then we will create a bonus episode every month, deep dive reviewing that game. January's is Metal Gear Solid from 1998, PlayStation 1 classic. I am making great progress in it. I say for the third time, I'm at Sniper Wolf 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm about
It's
at the same
nice.
as well, so I'm not. It's going to be an endeavor the next like 72 hours to get this finished. Really.
Yeah.
Oh, you wait for the stairwell where you need to put a bunch of claymores behind you. That's
yes.
the next hurdle. That's where I've stopped on my current playing through of it.
Yeah, this is my third sort of go at it. I started putting up my Steam Deck and then my emulator decided, no, I'm just going to randomly queue random FMVs and crash the whole game and corrupt saves and everything. Moved to the PlayStation Classic. And then, of course, 4 kids, TV time is limited. So I've sort of fixed the emulator and it's working. It's working. Fingers crossed it continues to work. Otherwise, Metal Gear Solid would never be finished. Never be finished.
What an intro to our first of a series of 12, we hope, but anyway.
Yeah.
None of us finished the game.
There's some massive games in there. Metal Gear Solid, for all of its faults, is a very, very, very short game. And so that should make this one theoretically one of our easiest ones, and that's why we picked it first. 8 hours, says I.
I was going to say it's about 7-8 hours to complete it.
I give it 8 hours. I'm 2 hours and 3 minutes into it. I'm at Sniper Wolf 1. And the reason I'm at Sniper Wolf 1 is because I keep on blooming failing that torture scene. Keep on failing it. And there's no saves, no continues. It's just like, yeah, get back to your last save there, please. And every time I was like, I'll save after I kill Sniper Wolf this time. But no, because I always walk that one step too far and then get captured every single time. Every single time. But there's more of that coming in the next couple of weeks, I would say. First week of
plan, I think,
February
release
is the
the
plan.
first week of Feb and then go from there again. The cycle repeats.
Once we can get Cardinal and Sherry in front of their computers and recording again, that's when that episode's going to go live. But time will tell. They're elusive at the minute. They are like shiny Pokemon.
Look forward to March. It's going to be a great episode.
It's going to be amazing. December 31st is going to be lit, boys.
Call them all, drop them all, same day.
All 12, one go. Perfect. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. But what we're hoping to do for that episode as well is get listeners' views and critiques of Metal Gear Solid. So if you want to do that, make sure you head over to Discord. The link is in the description below. Or if you don't like Discord or don't have Discord, then get yourself over to highscoreshighstakes.com. There is a poster, Game of the Month. Go in there and leave a comment, and we will read out the good ones. The good ones. The ones with some solid critique, not just the ones calling Metal Gear Solid terrible, terrible, terrible game. It's aged poorly, and it has
some solid Snake reviews is what we're looking for, is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyone who answers the question, is Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1 the sexiest protagonist of all time, is guaranteed a readout. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. He's glorious.
He's better in Super Smash Bros. He's definitely a thick boy in that one. He's
Yes.
he's a bit more juiced up in the original Metal Gear, not Super Smash Bros. So.
Yep. He also looks rather good in Fortnite. They announced him the other day.
Oh yes,
His model for that looks really good.
All iterations of Snake in that.
Yeah. Yep.
His own game is just holding him back.
That's it. Just takes other platforms to elevate him.
It's real sad that stealth games are dying, isn't it, guys?
So, with all the plugs out of the way, that leaves me to say, Darren, what are you playing?
I came in really planned with what I was playing and then finished it like half an hour before we sat down. Because I just love to find whatever PS Plus put out and then play that to no end. I've been playing the wonderful Nobody Saves the World.
Ah,
Nice.
Which is a very delightful little game that loses some steam in the middle, but held my attention, Nice little what did it give me vibes? It gave me vibes of, I don't know if anyone's played Chicory.
Mm-hmm.
no.
That sort of style of game. It's sort of evocative of Link to the Past. I call it like the original sin of this style of game, which is like blank overworld, caves, running around, progressing the story bit by bit, different towns, different things, but with its own little gimmick of transformations. So
You get to be an egg, don't you?
You do get to be an egg.
You get to be an
okay.
egg. That's 10 out
You
of
get
10.
to be an egg.
Instant
You start
10
off
out of
as
10.
You know what? We ask plenty of times how many times we want to be an egg in games, and this is obviously ticking
So
all
they
the
just
boxes right now.
don't offer it. It's Billy Hatcher in this.
Hashtag bring back Dizzy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. You start off like you're nobody, and then you get a rat, and then the next two are like knight and archer. But it builds up from there, so you end up like robot, necromancer, rogue, mermaid, ghost. And it's just each one has its own little abilities, own little challenges, and you eventually get the ability to like mix and match them.
Okay.
So
Oh, nice.
like one of the best abilities later on is you have the knight's one where you can block damage and repel it. So you put that on a really bulky one like the bodybuilder or the dragon, and you just go around one-shotting people with their own attacks.
Incredible.
Nice.
It's great fun. It's like I did it in about 18, 20 hours, I think, for a first run, and then there's New Game Plus, which just makes some little edits.
Just the
It's good fun.
revenge tour. Give
Yeah.
everybody give you hell.
Basically.
Back. Yeah, love it. I love New Game Plus when it does that. Just like go in and just decimate everything and give
give
you
it
trouble
hell,
the first
yeah.
time.
Love New Game Plus when you don't have to pay for it, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's the best. Everyone's favourite.
No. There's a lot to be said for paying for basic gaming functions. Let's not do too harsh on modern game developers. There's a lot of money and time spent on it, I hear. Anything else other than Nobody Saves the World, Darren? Or
Well, what I'm looking forward to getting back to afterwards, so I'm going to skew it into what I will be playing, is I'm picking back up Assassin's Creed Mirage,
Okay, yeah.
which I played like 5 hours of, and in the fashion which I always do, said this was fun. Put it down for like 3 months.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Cannot help myself. But I'm really looking forward to getting back to that because it's a nice blend. In fact, I saw a discussion earlier today where people were arguing over what was better of Assassin's Creed 1 or 2.
2.
I was saying like 2 is the better core game, but 1 is the better like conceptually in how it's approaching the concept of the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And what I like about Mirage so far is it seems to be blending those two ideals. Like they've come back full circle after
yeah.
doing what Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. To we're going back to the small scale. We're going back to like the AC1 style, but we now know how to make it fun because we've had what is it, 2023 from 07, like 16 years to work out how to make this game fun. They figured it out.
Awesome.
So I'm really looking forward to getting back to that.
It's a great game. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to have it back from you, Darren.
In time. In time.
Well, here we've all been there with that. Assassin's Creed. Everyone I know who's played it has said it's amazing. Mirage. There's like a real return to form for it. I hate it. The Origins and that sort of style. It was just bloated, a mess.
It's funny. Everyone loves Odyssey, and I think it might be the weakest of the three of their new ones. But you know, again, bloated is the issue. They just added too much in there. They're continuing that though, aren't they? They're doing two different styles of Assassin's Creeds going forward. So they could be like this Mirage one and these massive open RPG ones. We'll see how. Was it Japan's the next one?
Japan, yeah. At last,
and it'll be here's 1,000 side quests. Here's a tiny portion of map. Have a blast, go nuts.
Yeah.
And I'll play all of them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
6 months after it comes out.
Correct.
Here's a map with fog of war, but you can still see all of our icons on the map. All you need to do is see what building's there.
Yeah, I need to know where I'm going. God.
What about you, Tomahawk? Tell me. What are you playing?
So I've gone in a very similar to Darren here. I've gone for the PlayStation Plus catalog for mine. I am playing Plague Tale Requiem.
Okay.
A game I did not realize was a sequel because true to form, Tom doesn't realize that games exist. He just plays what shows up.
Recently
I like it.
in the Plague.
But I think the other one was on PS Plus.
It was
about a year
about
ago.
3 years
a
ago.
monthly game. Yeah.
So I it's kind of plays out though in a way that you don't necessarily. There might be little bits of like dialogue and a little maybe one character has appeared, and that was the bit of the giveaway that I was like, hold on, was there a game before this? And for the most part, though, you wouldn't think it. Kind of just if you feel like you're just dumped in the middle of the story, you kind of and you're just going to figure things out as you go. It's a beautiful game, absolutely stunning, and I'm getting a lot of Last of Us vibes all right the way through it. I don't have any of you played it yet?
Yeah, so I've platinumed the first one, and I've played this one as well too, about halfway through it, and you know I planned on coming back to it at some point. And yeah, it is beautiful. I get what you mean, Last of Us. It's very much that sort of crouch behind a wall, wait for someone to pass, throw a rock to distract him, off I go. That sort of vibe, which is it's not survivalist.
The game, it's not survivalist as such, but the game nearly forces the stealth onto you, but like you get the perks and you get bonuses for like if you're an opportunist, so if you're like using the elements to distract guards, or if you actually find yourself having to use your sling and have to kill enemies to get through, you get bonuses based on which path you pick. But I'm about chapter 10, so I think there's like 15 16 chapters into it now, so that tail end. So I'm really enjoying it. I thought I was gonna pack in pretty quick, and I'm now going, oh, actually I'm pretty committed to this now.
That's how the first one was. It was a real slow burn wind up, and then the end you're like, oh no, I need to see how this finishes, otherwise I'll feel like I've missed out.
Now what I did was I played the first like 5 or 6 chapters with the English dialogue, the English subtitles and everything. So, and then I was listening to another podcast who had reviewed this and then said, actually, it's a bit better because it's set in France during the plague, during the French Inquisition. Do the dialogue in French. It'll do it far more justice to it. And c'est magnifique. It just adds another layer to it. You actually kind of feel like you're part of the world that they've created, as opposed to these are English actors playing French characters. I'm really digging on it at the minute.
I can see Darren look at me knowing that I'm going to say something about this. The first one, there's the same voice actors, but they've got French lilts to their accents in the first one.
Okay.
And for some reason, the second one, they decided, no, do it straight voices, just do your English accents. so they cut a bit out of it, and the immersion is dropped entirely for it for some reason.
They're
I
too
can't work out
English,
why.
yeah. There are too English as an accent for being. Amicia de Rune is a very French sounding name, and Hugo as well. So I was a bit sort of taken aback, thinking maybe they're like migrants of some description, that in that sort of way of speaking. And I'm like, nope, they're French. They're just voiced by English actors.
Yeah,
I know how I sound, but I was rooting for them to die, which was a problem because like you sound like you're going to boarding school. I don't care for you. You've not had that hard a life.
But no, it's a good wee puzzler at times as well. It's actually it's not one that the solutions are always as clear as day. You do have to sort of think about what you're doing, but great game, and it's one that I think has gone under a lot of people's radars. Obviously, for me, if I'm not realizing that there was a first title.
I can't believe that.
The first one
That's
for me
incredible.
is like similar to what I said about Assassin's Creed. The first one to me is one of those where I played a chapter of it, went, that was really good.
Yeah.
See ya.
It's been like months.
Yeah, I did.
But one
I did the
day,
same.
I always joked with Josh. For a good year, I had a period of my time where on the PS5, I would install Plague Tale Innocence and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'd stare at them both for a month, and then I'd delete them to make room for other things. And I finally played Final Fantasy earlier this year, so maybe, or early last year, so maybe it's now Plague Tale's time.
Probably not. Probably not. Let's be honest
Sensing
here.
a pattern at the minute, yeah.
Yeah. But what you were saying about changing the language into the native language, I did exactly the same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. I turned off the English language and put it on the Japanese, and it just elevates it to a whole new level. Just pure immersion. It was great. So yeah, totally on board with that. So I am totally on board. Yeah. Anything else, Tom, or just
No? I've
Plague
been
Tale?
very restrained this week. It's no triple titles. It's one game. I'm maturing.
Letting the side down. This is not the first week, as it's happened as well. We need to have a team meeting at High Scores Towers.
I'm
to see what
turning
we're
over
gonna
a
do
new
with this.
leaf, possibly.
And then that brings us to you, Josh. Tell me, what are you playing?
Much in the same vein as Darren, I finished the game, got the platinum for it like an hour ago. It was Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, the new Metroidvania Prince of Persia reboot that's come out. I suppose reboot rather than remake. It's brilliant. I was shocked. I remember when it was first announced, and I went, it looks Fortnite graphics. It looks a bit meh. And then I've played it and gone, this is one of the best Metroidvanias I've played in a long, long time. Yeah. It is sprawling. It's so easy to get lost. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. I was like, oh no, this is ridiculous. And then by the end of it, I got about 17 different abilities. It's like, yep, this is about as Metroidvania as you can get. And everyone's going, it's sort of like a Metroidvania. I'm like, you've never played Metroidvanias, clearly. Because that's what this is. But they've done a good job. The story is interesting. There's enough nods to the old not Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia games.
Mm-hmm.
Like you swing on your beams and you can like turn direction. You do that little hand stand switch on the top of it. And I'm like, that's nice. And they've got outfits that look like the original one, and then extra ones that look like from the other games. It feels great throughout it. The collection grind up at the end, that's a burn as well. I think I finished about 19 hours. I think the platinum took me 30 hours. So it was 10 hours of running around the map just picking stuff up. When there is no guide to them as well, you have to just find them.
It does have that mechanic though, doesn't it, where you can take a character has a camera, you can take a photo of it and it puts it on your map. Am I right?
So you pick up these marks, you can get like a certain number. I think it's about 25 in the game that I found. But if you go somewhere and you can't reach it because you haven't got the ability yet, you can just put a marker on your little world map and it can go there. You also can buy maps, so it uncovers more of the area that you may not have explored. And you can also buy hints with currency that you find in the game, which are like 30 a pop. And by the end of it, I had 20,000 of the currency. So you're like, if I needed a hint, it's like just tell me where everything is. So it's pretty easy it's pretty nice with that. So it's kind, but some of the puzzles, like platforming puzzles, are absolutely murder. To the point where I've walked away quite happily gone, right, we're not dealing with you again today. We're going to go play some Power Wash Simulator just to clear my mind. And I'll come back to you later.
Clean your mind. I think you'll find. Power wash it.
Dozens of us who play this game. It's great.
It's such a dad game. I'm sorry, it really is. It's like, let's have some fun. Let's power wash this play park.
Yeah.
No.
Well, if you don't like that, there's another game I've been playing, which is like Power Wash Pit in space.
Oh yay! You have been playing this.
I have been playing called Hard Space Shipbreaker, which came out on PS Plus Extra this month, where you basically cut off and clear up debris from space stations and have to incinerate it and move it into other areas, and you can play online. So yeah, if you don't go, you go power wash. I could do that myself. You can't do this yourself.
No,
but it does put you into about 1.6 billion in debt, which we can all do, and most of us are on our way there.
So, especially if the current government stays in, we will all be 1.6 billion in debt by 2027, 100%. On the topic of Prince of Persia, on a scale of difficulty, I love Metroidvanias. On a scale of difficulty, is it more towards Guacamelee difficulty, or is it Hollow Knight? That's the question.
I would say this is, so I'm looking at the last ones I've played, I would say more approachable than a Blasphemous.
Mm-hmm.
I would say easier than Blasphemous, because Blasphemous can be quite punishing. It's just the puzzles more difficult. I'd probably put on level, first few levels of Metroid Dread, that sort of level of difficulty. So probably easier than Hollow Knight, harder than Guacamelee, because that's a very easy game. Let's be honest.
It is. It's a good game. It was a great game. It's a great game. Which brings me to me, I suppose. I have been playing 2 games this week. One of them was Metal Gear. The other one has been Gran Turismo 7, actually. I've gotten back into that. So
Sorry, Cardinal. Are you Cardinal Smith in disguise? What is going on?
No, what actually happened was when I got Gran Turismo 7, I couldn't believe my playtime. I saw the PlayStation 70 hours. 70 hours on PlayStation 4, and then 7 or 8 hours on the PlayStation 5 when I upgraded it. But no, I actually got remote play working on the Steam Deck, and it is flawless. And I have been playing Gran Turismo 7 in bed, and I have been loving it. Absolutely loving it. I have not played that game in a while, but what a game. What a game.
I can't believe your wife lets you have a race car bed. That's real nice.
I know. It's the noises I make when I'm driving it, but no alien noiser. Sometimes it's sofa forma.
That's the perks of separate bedrooms, I suppose.
But yeah, GT7, I got stuck in one of the cafe menus, the Porsche one, where you have to do 3 different races, but they're 650 horsepower races, and I was struggling. The only car I had close to it was an electric Porsche, and I finally raced it enough to get enough miles to get enough credits to upgrade the brakes and lower the weight and stuff on it, and that sort of pushed me over the edge for it. But yeah, what a game. It's absolutely superb. I forgot how good GT7 is. Apparently coming to PC as well.
It was the game that I had in my basket when it was on offer, like last month, and then I forgot about it, and it went back up to full price, so it's not getting bought anytime soon.
I do that with every sale. I look at Gran Turismo and I go, maybe this is the day.
Yeah,
and I never buy it. I just play the 17 Need for Speeds on various platforms, and they'll do me for now.
Yeah, I recommend GT7. It is superb. But see, with the DualSense controller, the haptic feedback on it is just incredible. You feel everything on the road, everything, even balls of rubber as they come off tires. If you drive over them, you feel them. It's a brilliant game.
Oh, class.
Brilliant game. It's quite sterile because it's GT.
It's Gran Turismo,
yeah. It's a bit of a dad game, really, as well.
yeah, very much so. Very much so. I had, up until this week, I had been playing Forza Horizon on.
Got a type, don't you?
Yeah, not really. I'm usually not into racers.
It's not usually a Luvva game.
Yeah.
Anything
felt the need for speed,
but exactly. Going from online in Forza to Gran Turismo is like night and day. Everyone in Forza just wants to absolutely ram raid you. It's just like up until the first corner, it is just carnage of cars everywhere. People spinning out, people flying. It's just crazy. Whereas GT7, it's all very, oh, hello, sir. Jolly good day for a race. And everyone's just so polite. And it's just like, what is going on here? Absolutely.
Taking the corners and not using me to get round the corner. That's delightful. Thank you.
It's crazy. I was having an online race the other day on GT7 and someone got kicked for exceeding the race limits, the track limits. And I was like, what? I'm not even kidding. It was about turn 4 in, I think it was Suzuka Long, and he overshot it and went into before he hit the tire wall, but just caught himself and then drove it back on. All of a sudden, boom, kicked. See you later, mate.
Mental.
It's like that. That's why I like to see decisive action taken here.
Yeah.
He gained the race advantage. Yeah, I can't believe it. I was like, oh, that would never happen in Forza. No one drives the track in Forza, let's be honest here. Everyone's humping the bloody curbs and jumping over the carpet. It's crazy.
Everyone's hoping for another burnout. That's all this is. They're just playing Forza.
Yeah.
I was going to say, have you ever played online breakfast?
Yes.
Yes.
Where it's like the last food in humanity is at the end of the track.
I may have broke John Sherry in one of our challenges for breakfast, so the less said on that, the better. I've learned my lesson since then.
It is the funniest thing to watch. We watch the footage and you just see him
greatest.
hitting that billboard, and you can almost see him putting the controller down and walking away before going, no, I'll finish the race and coming back. The car just sits there for ages.
I've been there.
That moment where I did it and went, I'm going to regret this, but I need points. So what do you do?
Yeah.
You guys do tend to have like a theme of racing based games and people walking away and quitting, because I mean Cardinal did the same one. Was it Trials Fusion? That's it, 2 races, I'm gone, I'm not doing this anymore. I hate it so much I won't even show up for the recording.
Yes. The best part is that episode, we had this idea of 4 races, whoever loses it drops out. And then we were like, no, actually, it'll be too short. So we'll just do a series of races, 10 races. Everyone does it. But then it's just a cumulative. And we did explain it to everyone. Okay, now here's the crack. We're going to do this instead of this. We are not doing this. We are not doing this. He loses a race and just drops out. He's like, Bennett.
Take the L. That's all he did, yeah.
I'll take a 0 points.
I've played Trials solo, and I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the kind of game where you're like, no. Peace out, lads.
It hits a point where you're just like, I lack the skill to complete this game. So see you later. Thanks very much, Ubisoft, for ruining my life.
That's what we all say about Ubisoft, because we're getting comfortable not owning our games.
Like that's
so
one way
then?
of breaking sales records.
To bring it
back in.
Rein it in a little bit. But what else have we been playing outside of GT7?
That's it, mate. The odd game of Street Fighter 6, just for the Capcom, the obligatory Capcom.
There we are. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
I decided to do combo trials with Ken because I got stuck on hard 6, I think it is. Yep, couldn't even get the hard 6. There we go. Couldn't get past intermediate 3. I was like, okay, peace out, see you later. Went online to try to gain some confidence back in my Street Fighter skill, but no, absolutely pummeled. It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. So it is. But yeah, that's it. Just GT7's the main one. GT7's the main one. I put about 6-7 hours into GT this week. Nice. Just pure addicted again. The best part was I turned on the PlayStation 2. I brought Last of Us Part 2 down, put it in the PlayStation with every intention in the world of purchasing the upgrade for the PlayStation 5, and then just saw GT, and I was like, nah, I'll play that.
Well, now.
I'll play that instead. Pair The Last of Us Part 2 still beside the PlayStation, its cover. Please play me.
There going,
endure and survive.
You know what you did. So with all that out of the way, Thomas, that brings us to the main section of the podcast, which is discussing our backlog games. This week we're discussing games that are in our backlog that probably shouldn't be in our backlog and the reasons why they are there. I can I'm going to go all clairvoyant on us right now, and I think all of our games on our backlog are probably there for the same reason, because we bought them to play them and then got distracted by another game. But tell me, Tomahawk,
Pretty much.
what game is on your backlog that you wish to discuss with us? What is the interesting story behind this game being on your backlog is what I'm asking.
So it's a bit of a toss-up, though. I've got a couple on my list here. The main one has a funnier story, I think, so we'll go with that one.
Go for it.
The first game in my backlog that I think I want to get out into the open is Monster Hunter Rise. So, it was a drunken purchase because you told me that the DLC and Sunbreak and Rise were £25. And you were
Factual
correct.
information. Yeah.
It actually was. It's consumer advice for you there. You're welcome, everybody. So I bought that on a drunken night out because I was like, Luvva said it was good. It must be good. The problem is, I remember how much you had said you'd put into it on the Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, for what we do as a podcast, it's a lot of micro gaming, a lot of micro blogging about said games. I don't want to see myself in 10 years and go, if only I could get that dragon slain and use his bones for armor. I want to love this game, and I've played it for I've done a couple of hunts, and I really, really enjoy it. I enjoy the mechanics. I enjoy what the game wants to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the main blocker for me is I need to play it with people and not just myself.
You do, yeah.
That's it. It's not a game that deserves to be in my backlog, but it's only there for the fact that I would play it for eternity.
Yeah,
and would get no other games.
It's a lifestyle.
It really is. It's a commitment. So it is. Once you start playing Monster Hunter, you're now in a marriage with your game.
Yeah.
You're committed to it fully, and you shall not cheat on it. And it's a great game as well.
No, it is. I
Great
really enjoyed it. I think they do. It's very data heavy at the start. Getting contracts, customization, and all that kind of jazz. But once you're sort of out in the world and you're tracking and you're hunting and stuff, I think it is very much a game that is built for several players in one lobby. But I will get to it.
Its biggest flaw is that it assumes too much knowledge on the player's part. I feel it doesn't. It explains some stuff. It's like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other thing. But then it explains absolutely nothing after that introductory part. It doesn't explain anything. It took me about 12 hours to realize that the body parts that I was cutting off these monsters are craftable items and used to make weapons and armor. It took me ages. I was like, why is this game so hard? I'm leveling up my sword here and it's doing no damage? And then I realized, oh, hold on, I can use those bones and imbue it into my sword, and then all of a sudden your sword does massive damage. It took me.
Do you ever think the
hours.
Capcom are just gaslighting us?
Quite possibly, yes.
Possibly.
Quite possibly.
The whole Monster Hunter series, one of the few games that somehow simultaneously have far too much tutorial and not enough tutorial. Yeah. It's like it holds your hand super tight as it walks you over the cliff edge and then just lets go. It's like, work it out.
You shouldn't have walked this way.
So here's your 14 different weapons. Have fun. How do I use them? You'll figure it out. Will I game? Will I?
That's exactly it. And it's just like, oh, you want to upgrade this? Well, you can't until you upgrade the others, even though you're not using them. You're like, oh, cool. Cheers. It is a great game. It does not deserve to be languishing in the dark recesses of your backlog, Tomahawk.
I think I was looking at it earlier and it says my playtime's like 2 hours. So I bought it maybe about at the start of December. So I've catching up to do. And I'm aware of this.
Makes me feel better. I'm the same. I'm 2 hours into it, and I bought it day of release. So I've got no intention of returning to it. It's got no intention.
Okay.
Wow. Controversial opinion. Yeah. It is a great game. I'm not a Monster Hunter fan. I just bought it. I actually got it in a Humble Bundle. Actually, it was part of a Humble Bundle, the Capcom thing, just before December, and I was like, I might as well play it. It's there. I loved it. I think I put 30 hours on it on the deck and then double dipped on the PlayStation.
Of course you
and
did.
then put another 10 hours, I think, in it in the PlayStation. But yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but definitely get back to it because it is a bloody superb game. So it is. So Monster Hunter Rise, Tom, sort that out. Sort that out in your backlog because it's intimidating you. Wow.
Yeah, you say intimidating, but yes, it's exactly that. It's intimidating. I mean, the sheer scope of the game is, I can't. But I've written this in the given the format of the podcast, it's something I don't want to fall back into. Brackets Alien Isolation. So you tell me why I don't want to go back to this game and why it has to stay in the backlog. So
7 years.
I'm gonna die on this hill, okay?
7 years to complete a 20-hour game. I love that. Well, that is
feel
Little
that.
increments. That's
I
it.
feel like we should get in contact with the people at Guinness Game and World Records. Because that has to be like the longest completion time for Alien Isolation, 7 years and 4 months.
I get bullied on this podcast far too much, but then I hear it back and I go, actually, this was possibly justified.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to say I also bought that around day of release, and I haven't finished it either.
Wow.
Josh, did I ever tell you my new best friend? Yeah.
The question is that game in my backlog? Yes, is the answer. I'll tell you now.
Again, it's another
Quality.
great game. It's one of the best horror games ever made, in my opinion. It is superb. Really,
Standard.
really good. Frustratingly difficult in parts, like, but what game isn't? What game isn't? And speaking of games, Tomahawk, are you gentlemen all ready to try to name some games?
Oh, yes.
Always.
Then let's go for it. Let's name a game. Name that game then. Name that game for the uninitiated is...
It's back.
It's back. And it's bringing some gas with it as well. Name that game is me spending far too much time on Amazon, scrolling through games to buy and possibly never play, and also reading customer reviews. I have got a massive collection of customer reviews, and I'm going to read them. And it is these guys' job to guess that game. It's really, really easy. You ready? Today's theme for Name That Game are these are all games that are currently residing in my backlog. And there is another wee theme run through it, but we'll get into game one. Are you all ready? I'll read the review. Let me read the review. After review, everyone gets one guess, and then I'll do one clue. Everyone gets a further guess, and then there's 3 clues. If any of you can get it, then it's a point. If you can't, then it's no points. We have 3 games to try to avoid a draw. So if 2 people have got a game, whoever that third person is, try not to guess the third one.
Just out, bud.
Help us out here, bro.
Hit the showers.
Cardinal's not here. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
That's it.
I will preface this game by saying The Last of Us Part 2 is not one of the games. Okay, so let's try to keep that off our lips. Right, so game number 1 then. Game number 1 is a very interesting game, which is really centered on mental well-being and how abuse can inflict long-term damage over time. It's a very rare sort of game that explores very personal issues that some people might feel a little overwhelmed by. It's not a scary game per se, but it does have some scary experiences that will leave you unsettled. These are also skippable in-game, so by no means do you have to go through the process at any stage. I would recommend the game to anyone that wants a strong narrative experience, which is also thought-provoking. 9 out of 10, in my personal opinion. Gentlemen, name that game.
I've got an idea of what I think it is.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go. I'll go through them quickly. I'm gonna go in with Life is Strange, and I'm gonna go with just the original Life is Strange.
Okay. It is not The Life is Strange.
Is it What Remains of Edith Finch?
It is not What Remains of Edith Finch. Pretty solid guess, though.
All right, thanks. I didn't need to throw me under the bus like that.
Is it Limbo?
It is not Limbo. It is not Limbo. Okay, clue number 1. It is apparently, now this is unverified statistics here, it is the first indie game to launch in the US and UK with Italian as the default language. Name that game.
No. I almost went for a Portuguese game then.
I know exactly what it is, but I can't remember it now. This is true to form.
It's not The Last of Us, Tom.
It's not that.
Yes. To be fair, when you did the initial review, I'm like, God, it sounds like The Last of Us, don't it? If you hadn't told me it wasn't.
Is it Martha is Dead? Is it Martha is Dead?
Ooh. It is. Martha
Oh,
is
nice.
dead.
Fair play.
Well
Nice.
done. Well done, Tomahawk. That was a good. Yeah, I didn't think you would get that. But yeah, it's one of the games on my backlog. And ironically, the reason I bought it was because of the censorship thing when it came out. Remember that? The Sony PlayStation version is more censored than the Switch. It's like, who cares?
What?
I tell you what, my other guess was going to be It Takes Two, and then as soon as he said about abuse, I was like, It Takes Two.
It's definitely not that.
Do you see what they did to that elephant?
Right, we will return to Name That Game after we hear what is in Josh's backlog.
Right. Backlog.
Everything.
I thought everything. I was talking beforehand. I've probably got about 400, 500, 600 digital games in my PlayStation category. So I thought I'll have a little look at some physical games. So I grabbed some off the shelf of games that I haven't played. And
you can
there's
hear
a
the
lot
crinkle
here.
of the wrap that speaks
One
volumes.
literally is still in its wrapper. Yeah, I haven't opened that. Of those though, I think I'm going to go for one that's going to just to rile up Luvva more than anything else.
That's a Capcom game. What is it?
Resident Evil 4, the remaster, is in my backlog, and I haven't gone back to it. Now, everyone loves Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
I think it's starts the downfall of the Resident Evil franchise, personally.
Oh,
but
controversial.
Wowzers!
Wowzers.
Two is the best one, and this is a solid remake. Although everyone lost their mind over this, and that's part of the reason I wanted to be controversial with that. But also, the reason with most of my backlog is because I'm a horrible trophy hunter, and I want the platinums in games, and I know the best way to do it. And the best way to do it with Resident Evil 4 is to go into Mercenaries beforehand and get a really good pistol upgrade. And I cannot do it, so the rest of the game is left unplayed. So, and also I did start off again, and I forgot about Chainsaw Mask Man, and he beat me up continually for 20 minutes because I kept trying to fight him rather than the easy solution.
Just run.
Yeah, so it just beat me a little bit, and I was being stupid more than anything else. But yeah, it's this the inane drive I've got to get the trophies. And that's part of the reason it's sort of kept me at arm's length rather than going for it.
Incredible. I don't even own Resident Evil 4 Remake, I haven't even got round to buying it yet. So
yeah, that was a day one release as well.
I know it's a very swanky cover as well for those who, if you want to show it again for
it's
our
the
Steelbook
version. Yeah,
That's
it's great.
looking.
It's beautiful.
No,
I'm a sucker for it.
I have been playing the Resi 4 remake, and I like it, but I think I touched on this a couple of weeks ago with Luvva. It's not as good as I remember the original being. And to be in the conversation for Game of the Year because it's a big spangly remake is possibly not. But I get where you're coming from. It kind of is just a bit of a grind, really, especially if you're looking at the trophies.
Yeah,
some obscure ones in that.
I mean, Resident Evils always have obscure trophies, but 7, really enjoyed going for the platinum on that. 8, I'm enjoying going for the platinum on that. It's just 4, I don't know. I think it's because everyone's sung its praises so much. I go in there, I just feel deflated in the game. I'm like, this is fine. This is a really good. This is a good game, but it's not the second coming of Christ. I'll tell you that much. Which is is what people are pretending it is. So
harsh truths here. I love it.
But yeah. If you tell me I'm going to play Resident Evil 2 again, I'll be all over that before I play Resident Evil 4.
In a heartbeat,
yes. 2's great, but 2 is great, but I think the foundation for 2 was stronger than 4, to be honest. I really love 4. I do see the argument for it starting the downfall of Resident Evil. It turned Resident Evil from the horror game into like the summer blockbuster almost. But 4, the OG version of 4 is almost perfect for what it was. It knew exactly what it wanted to do and what it wanted to be, and it executed it absolutely perfectly. Plus, it revolutionized gaming and all their sort of business. So
I missed 4 out when it originally came out. I was busy playing Silent Hill 2 and stuff like that, and I was like much more enjoying my this is survive and hope for the best rather than shoot your way out of everything. Yeah.
I originally played Resi 4 on the Wii with the pointer controls.
The best way of playing
It's
it.
the best way to play
It's
it.
the best way to play it.
It's great fun.
It is the most approachable way of playing Resident Evil 4. I would still say Resident Evil 4, the Wii edition, is the best way of playing the original 4. 100%.
I had like the really positive opinion of how it played, and then I picked it up. I think I had it on PC playing with a controller. I'm like, what? What is this?
What is going on here?
I don't remember it being this hard.
I don't have free.
I remember buying the Resi 4 on the GameCube because I bought the Resi 4 limited edition GameCube as well with it secondhand. So I spent about 30 quid and had the lovely silver GameCube and then played the game, and I was like, I still to this day hate the GameCube controller, to be honest. Like, but it made Resi 4 quite playable that way, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on the GameCube port, to be fair.
The only thing you're missing is the GameCube exclusive chainsaw.
The chainsaw controller, yeah. I always wanted it so bad.
Apparently, it is the worst thing ever created.
It looks so unbalanced.
Just bulky, cumbersome, an absolute nightmare to use. Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
It's just a chainsaw.
I know.
Your analog stick on one side, your buttons on the other, and your menu buttons on top.
So,
sure, why not?
I've just opened it on Google here. If I had to ask you guys to guess how much it's costing used on eBay.
Boxed or unboxed?
This is unboxed.
Right. Do you wonder what? I'm going to go with about, I think when it came out boxed with the game, and it was 80 or 90 quid. So I'm going to say 250.
I was going to say 200-300. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going higher. I want to go 480 for that.
It is £350 on eBay. The first listing on eBay that I saw here. So and it looks horrific.
It's a chainsaw, mate.
It's a chainsaw, man.
Yeah. I mean, what do you need?
I was really hopeful that when 7 came out, because the chainsaw was so prolific in 7, they were going to do one for the other controllers of the PlayStation, but it never came. I don't know. They missed the trick there.
I think the time has elapsed for gimmick controllers now. To be fair, it's had its window.
It has.
I'd still buy it, but that's because you've seen me. I'll buy things day one and never play them. So I'm the consumer they want.
I'm not gonna lie. Once you picked up all those boxes and I heard the rap, I was like, I'm not the only one. Thank God.
There's only one in there, and it's Valkyrie Elysium, which I only bought on a whim because it was like £5.
Oh, brilliant!
Any game's worth a fiver. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's
I have so many games still in the wrap. So many games. One of which I'm going to be talking about later on in this episode. So Resident Evil 4, the remake, then, Josh, is your game that is on your backlog, but probably shouldn't be. Which means we are ready to go back to name that game, folks. Game number 2. Keep in mind, the theme is games that are in my backlog. These are games that I have bought digitally and have never even installed on the system. All right, so game number 2 is, if you remember the glory days of Resi, Silent Hill, Alone in the Dark, etc., you're sure to love this carbon copy of classic survival horror tropes, albeit with the modern controls you'd want. The unwieldy camera angles, clunky but strangely compelling combat, oppressive atmosphere, finding notes to piece a story together, limited saves by using cassettes. It's all present and perfectly implemented to create an authentic late 90s horror experience in 2021. The relentless and frequently obtuse puzzles are also present, though some are better implemented and fairer than others. Overall, a fine game unashamed to celebrate the genre, warts and all. Gentlemen, name that game.
I thought I had it until you said cassettes, and that threw me. That's what threw me, and I was like, that's not what I was thinking it was.
It's a tough
Deadly
one.
Premonition.
Tis not Deadly Premonition.
Is it Signalis?
Tis not Signalis.
Okay.
Oh, I think there was a new Amnesia game around that time, but I can't remember the name of what it was. It's probably what you've already said. I'm going to say the one I wanted to think of originally, which wasn't cassettes. It's going to be wrong. Is phobia synced in for a hotel because
Tis not phobia. Tis not phobia.
The
Clue.
scourge of our podcast.
yes.
Clue number 1 is it was developed by Dual Effect and Abstract Digital. Name that game.
If anything, I'm further away now.
Yeah, I'd never heard of these two developers.
Here's a clue. There's red on the cover.
That would be more helpful.
That might be a clue number 2.
I'm not going to say anything, but your clues where it's like, this was developed for the PS4. There is now a PS5 version for it. Is basically 2 clues that are the same clue. I'm going to be honest.
And they still struggle to get it. I'm helping them. I'm helping them out. They still go The Last of Us Part 2. So name that game. He wants to make...
The cassettes is a very...
It's a specific
specific
thing. It's a
save
massive
function.
clue. A massive clue.
It like sparked something off in my brain, but I don't know what the connection is.
I don't think it's this, but I'm going to say the mortuary assistant.
Tis not.
Is it the asymmetric multiplayer, the Resident Evil Resistance?
Resistance?
Yeah.
Tis not that, mate.
Oh.
Forgot about that even existing.
I figured that.
So did
I figured
Capcom.
that it's the cassettes. It's very. Resident Evil's the only game that I'm aware that does it. So why would that ever be emulated? Is my thinking.
Because it was a genre trope.
You're a genre
Resident
trope.
Evil was the most famous, but not the only game to use limited saves.
Go on, Darren.
I barely have a title. I was gonna say whatever just the newest like Alone in the Dark is. Illumination or whatever it is.
It is not that. It is
Oh.
not Alone in the Dark Illumination. Although not a million miles away.
Okay.
Not a
That's-
million miles away. All right. So this game, clue number 2, this game takes elements of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. So it takes the Resident Evil look, but places it inside a Silent Hill aesthetic. So it is very gory and very body horror-ish. Name that game. That's a massive clue.
Is it the Blair Witch?
It is not Blair Witch.
2021 it's said in there as well, which makes me. Is it? It's not Outlast Trilogy, or whatever the third one was called.
It was not. It is not that. I can't remember what you call the third.
There was a third one. It
There
came out as
was.
a trilogy, and I can't remember what
Yep.
the third one was called.
Can't remember what the third one's called either. But no, it's not. It's not Amnesia.
So like Evil Within 2 or something like that.
It is not Evil Within. You're further away than where's your last one.
Yeah.
You said body horror. I thought Evil Within, and I thought, nah, it's not gonna be that rubbish. Who's got that in their back catalogue?
It's like I can see the game, but I can't think what it's called.
Evil Within 2 is one of the games in my backlog that is still wrapped.
Good.
I got it in.
Keep it there.
It's a great story. I went into Asda one day and they were, sometimes Asda just fire sale stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I picked up Prey and The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2 for a grand total of £12.50.
I think you
Class.
overpaid, to
That's
be
great.
honest. They should have been paying you to take away the Evil Within.
The first one's great. Are you ready for clue number 3? Everyone's guessed and got it wrong.
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
hard game. This is a hard game.
Okay.
Okay. So this was released in 2021. It released on PlayStation 4. It released on Xbox One and PC. And I believe Switch. But don't quote me on the Switch thing. It is a survival horror with static camera angles. Name that game. You'll kick yourselves when I tell you the name of it.
Yeah, I will.
Do you want to describe the front cover, Darren, so I can get it?
No, like I'm just picturing it. I really don't know. I got nothing.
It is a tough one. It is a tough one, in fairness. I was
Is
just
it-
scrolling. Go on ahead, Tom.
It's not like Five Nights at Freddy's, is it?
It is not Five Nights at
Like that.
Freddy's. It's not 5 Nights at Freddy's. I'm not game theory, mate.
Now looking at games on my shelf that I haven't played.
Just in case they might.
Nah, they're not going to get anything.
It's for Xbox, maybe Switch.
I'm pretty sure it came out for Switch, but don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure it did. Also came out in Steam.
I'm going to go with Don't Knock Twice.
Tis not. Tis not that.
You're like, I don't even know what that game is, and no one should, but, you know.
No.
Give it a
It
risk.
sounds like a really cheap indie horror game.
It is.
Yeah. Kind of along the lines of like Pinewood Drive, whatever.
Since I've already out, I decided to... And better idea what it might be now, but...
that was the last clue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Go on, Darren. Last guess.
Bring it home.
Bring it home. Pull it out of the hat here.
I'm going to guess a game I know it isn't, but it's the only thing I've got relatively close to it. It's not like Devotion or that sort of thing.
Tis not Devotion.
No.
The
I can
game,
hear a discussion of the game, but I can't get the title.
The game was, in fact, Tormented Souls.
Never in a million years.
Yeah. No. Don't even know what that game is.
It looks great. It does look great. It was one of those ones, once it came out, I bought it digitally and never even installed. It's one of those ones. And apparently it's great. Yeah, so that brings us down there. So after 2 rounds...
I know Tormented Souls now. This is the one, isn't this the game that came out and Resident Evil 8 had a problem because of the Propeller Man was based on something very similar to something in Tormented Souls?
That's right, yes.
Literally just need to see the picture, and then I knew what it was.
Yeah, the cover is very distinctive. Completely rips off Resident Evil 4 as well, in my opinion. It's Resident Evil 4 style cover.
I just had a wee Google of it there. It's like, one of the biggest difficulties a player can face while playing Tormented Souls is the fact that enemies are everywhere and they are difficult to avoid.
The hardest part of the game is the game.
Is surviving. And in a survival horror, that's just not on.
Not about that life.
Right, so that is after 2 rounds of Name a Game. Tomahawk, you're winning, mate. All you need to do is get the 3rd game, and you're home and hosed in a whitewash. No pressure. At worst, you're going to draw. I may.
Depends how bad your guess is. -1 point.
Which means that we can go back then to our backlogs. Darren, it's your turn to tell us now. Tell me, what game is in your backlog? It probably shouldn't be there.
There's a game that's like emblematic of my backlog, and it's a game that's been in there so long it's been remastered before I played it. Because that game is The Last of Us Part 2.
Incredible.
So
which I bought on sale, I think 6 months after it came out.
That is incredible.
Watched its price drop, and for a little while didn't play it just out of spite that I'd paid too much for a game I hadn't played yet.
Yep.
And it would go on sale again for like £10 less. I'm like, come on. I'm on now. And I still haven't played it, and I have no better reason than I just don't want to be sad.
Yeah.
Like, every time I look at it, I look at all the options I have in front of me. I'm like, I could go to any of these, and I see it. I'm like, that's just like 2 weeks of depression. And I don't need that.
Yeah.
But the question's really why I bought it. Because I knew what it was.
We're all at heart a little bit sadistic, and we all want to be emotionally tortured.
You want to be emotionally challenged by a game. You want to be challenged, not just in the gameplay, but in the themes and what it's sort of presenting to you. Yeah, it is a hard game to play. It's one of those games. Yeah, I played through it, completed it, instantly restarted it, beat it a second time, and then I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I want to buy the
inside now.
I want to buy the upgrade, like, and I'll probably play it through when I do. Like, but yeah, what a game! What a great game! Absolutely unreasonable amount of discourse online. Absolutely shred on it. And the game just it's a masterpiece.
It really got panned for story and kind of character, more for character arc and character development and stuff. Yeah.
It got panned. I'll say it by neckbeards who wanted to be married to Ellie, but unfortunately, She ain't interested in you. Sorry, mate. It's a better game than the first one. I mean, I did the same as you.
Yeah.
I beat it. I then went back. I got the platinum on it. I bought the physical copy of Part 2 because I didn't have it originally. I did it digitally, and the wife is now playing Part 1. So I thought I'll buy the physical copy so she can play Part 2 when it comes out. And it's an excuse for me to buy another game. So I can't wait to put that in because I haven't actually installed it. I bought it day one release. It's only a week now, but I'll put it in eventually to play it.
We said they announced the £10 upgrade path, and I'm like, oh, brilliant. I'll pay £10, so I'll still have paid below retail price. But the new version, maybe I'll play it. But who
In the long run.
It is a masterpiece. I think everyone should play that game at least once.
That's why I bought it.
Yeah, form their own opinion of it, and then discourse it. Yeah, it's a great game. I love it. It's one of the very few game series where my wife has no interest in games at all. But when I played through The Last of Us Part 1, she watched it, and then when The Last of Us Part 2, she was like, "I'm gonna watch you play that," and watched the entire playthrough. Yeah, she really enjoyed the story. She thought the story was great. So did I.
I think because it's one of them games that they over the shoulder, you can just sit back and if you're playing it, you can just dilly your way through the story where you can actually like watch it as an experience, I suppose.
Yeah.
Call it.
Plus, it's a better game than the first.
It
Absolutely.
is.
But
I mean, and the cutscenes on their own, she can just tune in for the cutscenes because that gives the main body, and it's so beautiful as a game. I can't wait to see what it looks like in this upgrade because I was thinking,
that's it. Yeah.
and
I remember it coming out and think when they said we're doing it for PS5, I thought, didn't this come out on PS5? I remember it being beautiful back then.
I know, it was just before.
it's literally what 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's
it came
like
out,
June 2020, and
just
PS5
in
was
November.
September,
Yeah.
October time. Yeah.
Because I had said this a couple of weeks back to yourself, Luvva. It's like you
Yep.
can put it on a reveal trailer side by sides and then say it's captured on a PS5 with all the bells and whistles, but I think it's actually going to be with your own eyes playing the game in the moment to actually see the difference in it. Now
It'll be the performance.
Exactly. I think I'm more excited about how the haptics and the trigger feedback is on the game as well, because I know there's a lot of elements like horseback, or if you're going through the bush and all the dogs are chasing you and stuff like that as well. I want to see how the controller feels in that as well. So it's going to be a lot of little tiny details. I think that's going to make that game bloody stellar. Like
Incredible.
The Part 1 remaster feels great as well with the controller on PS5. Yeah, well worth it. Not that I'm a shill. I've already gone over this. I'll buy everything.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, I already bought The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. I don't think I need it again, but once it goes on sale, I'll definitely buy it. Absolutely. It's only right thing to do. So The Last of Us Part 2, absolute shocker. You can't believe PlayStation fan out there has not played The Last of Us. Sort that out. And speaking
I'll
of
install it, look at it for a month, and then clear it to make space.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think
the next one.
I think the PlayStation 5 needs 100 gigs as well, so make sure that's clear as well. And speaking of clearing things up, let's clear up who's going to win Name That Game by going to game number 3. You ready for this one?
No.
The good news is game number 3 is a lot easier than game number 2. All right, it is a lot easier. Have you spotted the secondary theme of it not just being games in my backlog? There is a secondary theme to this here. So it is. And here comes game number 3. It's a compilation of essential and excellent retro games from the NES, the SNES, Mega Drive, and Game Boy, with Japanese and American versions included. The physical copy is a high-quality release with interior art and a little booklet detailing the games included. Lots of cool extras and emulation features like save states and TV filters. Smiley face emoji. Gentlemen, name that game.
Oh, the review just ended. That was really weird. It just went smiley face.
That's
Done.
It. That's the review.
It's the dying form of written word, isn't it?
You're witnessing it firsthand.
These Amazon wordsmiths, they're a dying breed.
In fairness to this guy, he used punctuation correctly, so that's a massive step up from 99% of the reviews on Amazon, I can tell you that much.
Is this something like the Sega Mega Drive Classic Collection?
It's a rather good guess, but it is not the Sega Mega Drive collection.
I know I shouldn't have gone first. I should have waited. I should have done a Tomahawk and gone, hey, you guys guess, and then I'll go in after all the good ones are gone, and then I got more chances. Yeah.
I know what it is now.
Is it within
It's
the
The Last
rules?
of Us Part 2.
Is it within the rules to ask for part of the review to be reread?
Yeah, no, what part? Do I just read the whole thing?
What
Smiley face.
It's...
what consoles did they say?
I didn't hear that.
So it's a collection of excellent retro games from the NES, SNES, Mega Drive, and Game Boy.
It's Game Boy that's really throwing me.
Yeah,
It's such a wild card.
It was a very popular console from the 80s, portable, and it had the
I know,
greatest
it's before
screen.
my time.
It's the greatest screen to grace a handheld console or any handheld device of all time.
My brain is screaming Castlevania for some reason.
Right?
But that's all I have. It's just Castlevania.
Just Castlevania.
Just Castlevania. Yeah, and I know it's not.
Oh. Unless someone can get it closer, we'll see.
Well, only Darren can guess. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Just say Castlevanias.
No, it's called like the Castlevania Legacy Collection or something like that.
Legacy Collection, trademark of Capcom. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to give you both 1 point. So I am. So
What a way to make sure your team wins. I see how it is.
To be fair, there's a lot of Castlevania collections. So there are. And the Legacy Collection is Mega Man. The game that I was looking for, of course, is the Castlevania Anniversary Collection.
Yeah.
What a game
That's
collection,
cool,
by the way. What a game collection. It's one of those ones that I installed, played the game, realized the first one is brutally difficult and can't get past level 4, I think it is. And then was like, I'll try Super Castlevania because that's meant to be easier. And it is easier until that stupid rotating level, which is brutally difficult. It's just like, what is this? What do you want me to do, game? And then just bend it. See you later, mate.
I can confirm I have this exact same Castlevania collection just sitting.
Mm-hmm.
But Symphony of the Night takes priority, so Symphony of the Night.
I think I said the Mega Man one because that's what I was thinking. That's why I had you read it out again.
Wires crossed.
Yeah, because I was like, it's Mega Man. And then it's like I heard Game Boy after that. And, Game Boy?
There was a couple.
I didn't hear a single one. Didn't hear a single console, which is why I guessed Sega.
But as soon as someone said Castlevania, I'm like, that's 100% what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I give Tom a point and Darren a point.
This doesn't really help that I do share a podcast with Luvva and have a sort of a bit of an in-depth into his gaming psyche. So
yeah,
it is what it is. I'll take the win on a technicality.
Yeah. So it finished 2-1. 2-1 to Tomahawk. Bad luck, lads.
That's fine.
With great knowledge of Luvva comes great depth of what games I play. They're all horror games, by the way. That was the secondary sort of theme of the game. They're all horrors.
That's also why I was concerned why the third one would be Mega Man. I don't remember that being a horror game.
It is horrifically hard.
Yeah.
So they are. I've had nightmares playing Mega Man Legacy Collection on my PlayStation 4. It's like, how are you meant to do any of this? What does this game want me to do? The only thing that annoys me the most about Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 is that you can't shoot through the level, but the enemies can.
Yep.
And that drives me
It's
crackers. And Mega Man 2 is so unfair. Mega Man 2 has all these wee hidden death traps, like lasers that come out of nowhere, and then you can only see them when you step into the trap. Annoys me. But great game. Yeah. Which means it's just me then to talk about my backlog. So we'll get there now. Right. So my backlog game is, I find this really weird sort of theme of my backlog. I don't consider myself a big RPG fan, but pretty much all the heavy hitters in my backlog are RPGs.
Yep.
So I was torn which one to go for. So I went, in the end, I went with Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ooh.
Kingdom Hearts 2. I have never played Kingdom Hearts. I had never played a Kingdom Hearts game until about 2 years ago when I went on a whim and bought the entire series. I was like, I'm going to play through this series.
It's
And
like a weird crossover
Disney
that nobody ever
and
expected.
Final Fantasy. It shouldn't work, but the first game is great. I did play through the first one. The first one was great, and then I made the mistake of going online and going, can I just play Kingdom Hearts 2? And of course,
You can.
all of the Reddits and it's like, well, no, you cannot. How,
Chain of
Memories.
You're liars. Don't do it.
how dare you ask that question, sir? You must play Chain of Memories and
No,
you
you
must
mustn't.
play Dream Drop Distance. And I tried
play
playing all of them, all those spin-offs, and I'm putting it out there right now. All those spin-offs are awful.
Nothing
Every
great.
single one of them are awful.
Dream Drop is the second best Kingdom Hearts.
They're awful.
100%.
And by the time after I tried a couple of the spin-offs and I was like, no, I'm not vibing with these at all. I'll just go to Kingdom Hearts 2. I put the disc in with the intention of playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I remembered 2 parts of Kingdom Hearts. And the first one was the Little Mermaid world. Dreadful. Dreadful. I near dropped the first one at that point.
Awful.
And then the final boss. And the final boss is 3 phases, and the last phase is so hard because you're flying, and the flying controls are awful.
Really
and
bad.
I was like, do you know what? I think I need a break from Kingdom Hearts, and that break has been going on for about 2 years. I'm counting. I know I really should play Kingdom Hearts 2 because Kingdom Hearts 2 is the point. It's generally considered one of the best games on PlayStation 2 and is generally considered one of the best RPGs and stuff like that. I know I should play it, and I will, but just once I get over the PTSD of trying to fight Ursula in the first Kingdom Hearts.
Yes,
Poor
that'll do it.
Darren.
It's my favourite game of all time.
Darren's bread and butter, to be fair, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
I know it's great, but
It's
yeah,
so good.
I just don't have it in me. I'm like, I know there's going to be another flying level. I know it. I can feel it. I've seen Peter Pan.
There sort of is, but it's not nearly as bad in the second one. Like, the first one has the problem of being made before they knew how to make games.
Yes.
So it controls, like, absolute garbage.
Yep.
It does not function as a game. 2 is far superior, but I also completely understand going, can I just go to it, being told to play Chain of Memories, and then not wanting to play anymore after that?
That game is
It's rough.
awful. It's so bad. It was a Game Boy Advance game, I believe, to start with.
Yeah.
And it fails every inch of a Game Boy Advance game that had been remade into 3D and changed nothing about it because it is unfair, it is confusing, the story is a mess.
Yeah.
The story is a mess, and the whole thing just controls dreadfully, looks dreadful.
Yeah.
And even the soundtrack, how a Square game has a terrible soundtrack, I'll never know, but they succeeded in Chain of Memories.
I agree with all these things, but I still love it.
It's weird. Darren's just is streaming all of the Kingdom Hearts game, and he did Chain of Memories, and I felt like when he was doing it so quickly, and I was like, I was at that point. I was like, I feel like a cat trying to learn poker here. I've got no idea what's going on. Lots of things are moving, and I'm nodding along, but God knows what's happening, and I'd rather just knock everything on the floor. That's pretty much how I felt at that point. It was awful to watch.
It's both a game that benefits from having beat it 4 times, and also a game you should never beat 4 times. Once you get into those later runs, you're like, oh yeah, in my element, playing this stupid game for the 4th time.
This is it. The things we do as content creators now as well. This is also a lesson that you should never ever be fan driven in your content. If you play the main trilogy, you just play the main trilogy. Don't listen to anybody else.
That's it. I can confirm. If you've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and you want to play Kingdom Hearts 2, just play Kingdom Hearts 2 before it's too late. Because if you try any of the other ones, you're never playing Kingdom Hearts 2.
You should play the spin-offs before 3, though.
Watch a YouTube video. Watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, watch a YouTube video. I always describe Kingdom Hearts like the Marvel films, where the numbered titles are the Avengers. Because you can go from like Avengers 1 to Age of Ultron and probably be fine, And then if you try to go from there to Infinity War, you're like, why are they in space? Why are Hulk and Thor together?
Yes.
What's happened?
Yeah.
It's like I have a rule in life. If I want to watch a movie or play a game and there's homework before I can start playing it, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I get
That's
that.
just it. I should be able to just stick in a game or watch a movie without having done any prep work or some pre-reads or whatever it might be, and just to sit down and enjoy it for what it is. But Kingdom Hearts fans, and it is the hardcore fan base that have ruined Kingdom Hearts for everyone else.
Yeah.
Because you will get screamed at if you say, I didn't play any of them, I just went straight into 2. Hadn't a clue what was going on, but let's be honest, I was never going to have a clue anyway. Because the story is so convoluted.
Madness.
Even by the end of the first one, I was like, what is going on? What? And I was like, why are they teasing Mickey Mouse? It is clearly Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
We all know it's Mickey Mouse. Why are they teasing it like it's some like unheard of character? And at the end, he's like, hello, guys.
The best
like,
thing
"Oh,
about that as
wow."
well is it's shirtless Mickey Mouse. He wears a shirt for the rest of the series, and in the one that directly precedes that scene, there is specifically note of him losing his shirt on the way to that scene. Like 20 years later, they caught it. And it's great.
Brilliant.
It is a game series. Like
They're
I
so
love the
dumb.
first one. I love the first one for all of its faults. The first one is a great, great game. It is brutally hard. Like the
Really hard.
bosses are just like you get to it naturally through gameplay, but it becomes very quick that you have to grind to stand any chance of beating them. And it's just every
sounds like a
boss is-
JRPG. That sounds like a
Yeah,
JRPG.
yeah, every boss is exactly that. And some of the levels, like the Tarzan levels, dreadful.
Atlantica's awful.
And Atlantica is honestly one of the worst areas in a game I've ever played. It is just confusing, controls dreadfully. The music's great though. One thing I will say about Kingdom Hearts 1 is the soundtrack is phenomenally good.
Not for YouTube.
Not for
No.
YouTube. No.
What I
Pretty much
will say
copyright
is-
strikes everywhere.
Yeah,
The
bye, bye,
only
bye.
experience of Kingdom Hearts that I haven't played the series myself, but I've watched Darren on your guys' Twitch channel and play it, and as you say, it's a bit of a grind to get through, and some of the bosses are unnecessarily difficult. Is this accidentally a Souls-like game? Have they just like created a PG, a PG Souls-like?
Part of me wants to say no, and part of me was playing, I think, Birth by Sleep in the last stream. I'm like, this feels a lot like how I play a Souls-like game, where I died, but I learned part of his pattern. So if he starts doing that attack, I know the block timing to parry him. I'm like, oh god, it is a Souls-like.
No, I was just when Tom asked that question, I was like, no, it's definitely not. And then I had flashbacks of doing the little hotel in the first area before the night boss, and just running through it and just running through it and running through it, exactly like I did in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah,
and Bloodborne.
What's the meme of the astronaut? It's a Souls-like, always has been. The original Souls-like.
Yeah, but yes, I must get round to Kingdom Hearts 2. I have
good.
to, I think, because the first one was great. First one was great. And that means that the only thing left to do is wrap us all up in a nice little bow like a Christmas present. So let's get the wrap-up section. That is it then. Another episode all wrapped up. Nice and neat. Nice and neat. Again, guys, Josh, Darren, thanks very much for coming in last minute and making it a really good episode.
Yes.
Actually, a really good episode. Thank you very much for that.
a lot of fun.
If you guys want to sort of flash your words again, tell everyone where they can find you on the internet and where they can find your podcast and stuff like that, fire away. Do it. You can get that.
It's pretty much find us anywhere where you get podcasts. It's at Discount Pods. That's 2 C's. And you'll find us on Instagram with that. You'll find us on YouTube with that, on Twitch with that, and everywhere you get podcasts. So yeah, just Discount Pod, and just chill by. We haven't really got like a Discord or anything like that, but you know, we always respond unless we don't like you.
Depends who sees it first.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I'm presuming that people will know you dislike them when they check up on that Twitter message or whatever it might be, and they're blocked.
They're normally in the request section, and they're normally trying to like cash app us something and then get angry that we haven't responded. But yeah, it's fine.
I love it. That is great. That is great. If you want to find anything of ours on the internet, the easiest place to do it is highscoreshighstakes.com. There you'll find links for all of our social medias. You'll find our links to Twitch, which no one has used yet.
Eventually, which we'll get there.
One day.
It's there. We have the name.
I mean, yeah,
That's the important part.
That is the important part. No one can have High Scores High Stakes unless they want to message me personally and offer me a good price. I'm open to good offers. So highscoreshighstakes.com. Don't forget, if you want to get your point of view across about Metal Gear Solid for Game of the Month Club, which should be coming in about 2 weeks' time, head over to highscoreshighstakes.com, find yourself the little post. It's right there on the homepage, and leave us a comment there. We will read out the very best. And also the first person to say that Solid Snake is the most perfect man in video games. You're definitely getting read because you're absolutely speaking the truth. So that means, with that all out of the way, the last thing for us to do is say, I'll be Mr. Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. See you all Monday. Love you all. Bye.
Cheerio.
Hurrah.
Adios.